Cue that beautiful frog, baby. The first of many frogs. I'm Andrew Badala. That is Jordan. That is Juice. We are live for No Dirt, Just Dialogue on Final Bell Media. Gentlemen, a lot has happened since we were last on the air. We have two people who have punched their ticket to WrestleMania via the Elimination Chamber. We had somebody come out of the box. That's the first frog that we saw. We had somebody debut in AEW who had been rumored to maybe go somewhere else. We have new champions in AEW. We have a Dynamite to talk about. We have Raw to talk about. We have news and notes to talk about here. We have Double or Nothing tickets and everything else happening live in New York City at Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, New York. But before we get into all that, Juice, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Big week of pro wrestling. I hope not. Hopefully the show's not cursed. No, good week of pro wrestling. Dynamite's on fire with their TV, so I'm hopeful that this isn't a reversal where their TV's incredible and then their pay-per-view sucks, especially considering Jordan's going to be there. I have faith that it won't suck, but it's just funny that now all of a sudden they're on fire and all cylinders on TV. Can they put it all together?
Yeah, speaking of fire, I need you to show some more. Come on, what was that? That was like, yeah, I'm okay. You know, it's all right. Juice, come on, you're living, bro. You're living. It is a Thursday. Where else would you rather be?
Nowhere, right here.
Amen.
No dirt, just dialogue. I'm here. What do you want from me? Come on, we got
I want me
to go crazy.
I want some life here. This is a
we'll have plenty of life whenever you disagree with me again. That last night's Dynamite felt like a Clash of the Champions.
I mean, there was a lot of champions match, but anytime you could reference WCW, boy, you're going to take it. And I appreciate it.
That's all
Jordan,
I know.
That's it. You were born and raised on the WCW. I don't blame you. Jordan, big week. Obviously, you are heading to California for Revolution. But how was your week? How are you today? What's going on in the world?
I am doing particularly well. Got a little bit of rain and a little bit of sunshine here. But I'm doing great. I'm doing really, really well. Just getting ready for this California trip, going out to a Revolution. So California, please treat me well. Gearing up for another trip. I don't know if you want to make that. We tell people now. We can tell people later.
We will be on site for WrestleMania. Yes, myself and Jordan. Juice was invited. We were all invited. I want to be thankful to the
what.
I want to say thank you to WWE and TKO that we were invited to WrestleMania. We're going to go. So thank you for that. Jordan and myself will be there representing this crew. But yeah, again, big week in professional wrestling. Let's just start off with Chamber since it's kind of the most expired or dated topic here. So let's start there. We saw Randy Orton and Rhea win their respective Chamber matches, but there was a lot that kind of went on during the show. Danhausen debuted out of the box, the coffin. We all knew that. Well, if you had a friggin' working brain, you knew that Chris Jericho was not coming out of a box to re-debut in WWE or make his return. It's just it's Chris Jericho. Okay. Danhausen fit. I didn't hate the segment at all. It was done on purpose. And then we saw Danhausen on Raw, and you saw exactly what Danhausen's going to be. Dom is cursed and drops the Intercontinental Championship. It was fantastic. And my son was talking about the Danhausen segment, not only Monday morning, but Tuesday morning as well. So obviously, WWE is a variety show, and it worked. On the chamber topic, Rhea winning had a lot of people, it seems like, in their feelings. Like Rhea Ripley is now the version of, that's not going to work for me, sister. And I don't get it. Rhea is getting ovations that are louder than 95% of the roster. And that's males included, okay? So how do you not have Rhea in a focal point at WrestleMania? You have to. You don't pass up the bucks. And I'm talking about $1. I'm talking about the green. You don't pass that up in any way, shape, or form if you're a promoter or if you're a wrestling company. Rhea draws eyeballs, and she also draws money. And what has WWE been rumored to be not having success with? Their ticket sales for WrestleMania, okay? Rhea will help that. Now she's in a high-profile match, which there's a lot of back and forth on social media, which is the new way to work people and get things over, I guess. But Rhea Ripley winning this chamber, I had no issue with that whatsoever. Long segment here because I was trying to be short with that. Jordan, we'll start with you. Do you have a problem with Rhea Ripley winning the chamber?
No. I thought out of both chamber matches, I thought the women's was the strongest out of the two, personally. Would I have liked a Bianca return? Yeah, obviously, but clearly she's going through some pretty tough rehab. I had no problem with Rhea winning. I think this sets her up perfectly for a nice, which should be to me a Mania win. That's something we'll talk about later on down the road. But no, I had no problem with Rhea winning. Again, I thought the women's chamber match itself overall was better than the men's.
Ooh, that's a hot take. I don't hate it, though. That's a hot take.
Yeah.
All right, Juicy Boy, what do you got?
Yeah. Predictable is never necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I enjoyed, if it's the right outcome, then it's the right outcome, like regardless. Rhea, it is what it is. Like, very predictable, some might say. Yeah, great friend of the show, Jonathan Coachman, had a problem with it whenever he said, when it's tough.
Oh, that one got me. All right,
it's tough to buy into the entertainment of who could possibly win when Michael Cole says if Rhea Ripley wins this, it's going to be like her 5th title match at WrestleMania in a row.
I'm interesting. I'm so glad that you brought this up. Go ahead, finish your point.
No, that's just it. As if people at the top haven't been in multiple main events in a row, and we had a problem with it before. It's staying power. Isn't it more positive to say Rhea is a great star instead of saying, oh, we're pissed off that she's having it again?
And
be happy you got a star.
Yeah, what's interesting about Coach, and I respect Coach, everything he's done in the industry, ESPN. I've said this before. Coach has kind of lived out a dream that most men, women do not get to do in this industry. He was an anchor on ESPN. He was a focal point announcing wise in WWE. He was a character for a little bit. The man has lived a fantastic life in terms of sports entertainment and professional wrestling. What I don't understand is he, being Coach, sat under Vince, with Vince, multiple talents during the, beginning of the Attitude Era, or I should say the middle part of the Attitude Era, all the way through the early and middle of the 2000s. And he forgets that the person who's the most over should be in a major profile match at WrestleMania. I saw his post about Raquel Rodriguez. And although I don't hate that it's her time, it can be her time. It's just not her time right now. How do you not have your biggest attraction or star being a focal point at WrestleMania, whether it's male or female? Coach, I mean, this. You sat there in these meetings and you were right next to Vince, you claim, and I believe you. I worked some shows that you were there, okay? But you can't sit back and tell me that anybody else in that chamber besides Rhea deserved to be at WrestleMania unless you were going to debut somebody and screw her, et cetera, et cetera. That it just doesn't work like that. Yada, yada. It doesn't work like that. That's a Seinfeld reference. All right. Juice gets one or two a show from me. So you just can't do it. Rhea had to be in a match at WrestleMania. They dropped the tag titles. This was very obvious. And while I love me some Raquel Rodriguez, and I think her and Liv are going to have a great program after WrestleMania, we need to have the stars that sell the most tickets and ass every 18 inches at Allegiant Stadium. I mean, what are we doing here?
it's much like.
Is there any money in Raquel Rodriguez and Jade Cargill? Sorry, Jordan. I don't like to do that to people. There's no money in that right now. And they had to formulate this money and do all this other stuff online and formulate a feud with Jade and Rhea.
And maybe next year they can take more chances because it's going to be in Saudi, so they can give it to a younger talent. But right now, you got to get Vegas with the fans you got. So
not even that. You have to sell Vegas because one, like you said, we're not going to have another Mania in America, next year. So you already took away the Rumble. So you have to. This being, another tentpole event, you've got to give us the stars.
Sure, but if we were going to do this, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be one. But what I will say is if you're going to make somebody, do it in the Rumble. Raquel could have won the Rumble, okay? Liv could have won the Chamber, all right? And what you do then is Raquel's on the top of one and Liv's on the top of the other brand. And then they would come face-to-face eventually at one of their PLEs, whether it's Clash or whether it's the Queen and King of the Ring or whether it's your sister's ass, whatever PLE they want to use, they could do that. And then you can have that feud built in. You're not going to have Liv win the Rumble, have Raquel win the Chamber. If you're going to make somebody, Liv is already made. All that did was cement her. Raquel has not been made. Raquel has not been cemented, and she has not been positioned. While I understand that's what you want to do, Coach should know this better than anybody. The Chamber does not make somebody. It does not.
It used to.
Ooh.
Well, I would say when it was for the championship, it might have been able to.
For the championship,
it's a little, Well, you just said
go
Chamber
back
at
to
all.
When it's not for the championship, boys, they had some dogs in those chambers. Jericho was in one. Taker was in it. Michaels. I mean,
Shawn Michaels win one. Batista got crowned in the chamber.
Edge,
Goldberg got crowned in the chamber.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta. You can't. You want to make somebody. The Rumble and the Money in the Bank is where you do that, in my opinion. And it's just baffling.
And now the Chamber, without it being for the championship, is that second chance Rumble match. Really, you get 6 people that couldn't win the Rumble, and now you get a shot at WrestleMania.
And that's what I don't like. Though. They booked themselves when we've split the titles. This is all problems lead back to the bloodline, unfortunately, because they made the Chamber a second opportunity to get to the title because Roman was holding both belts. You know what I'm saying? So they had to find a way. And I think that
we're gonna get into that. Multiple belts being on a couple stars, I don't think is a good idea. But we'll get into that one.
Oh no, we're definitely gonna get into that, especially from last night. No, the Chamber should be
in this, though. I mean, like Rhea, I don't hate it. Boys, do we hate it?
No. But the Chamber, like you're saying, the Chamber should be where stars are made. Or where you're putting a star to further go on to Mania. So Rhea winning isn't a bad idea.
Used to intensify or reignite a storyline. Seth Rollins, all this other stuff. It's fine.
My only true issue is like the tweet worked shoot thing that I don't know necessarily how well that works in 2026. Especially even in the men when Punk and Roman are. It's not even that they're saying you said something. They're saying directly, verbatim, that tweet you sent out to me. And that just doesn't sound like it's as high level of intensity as just like talking trash generally.
Yeah.
So
speaking of
that
tweets,
part of it, I don't know.
Yes. And speaking of tweets, there's some news and notes going around right now. Rumor that I can confirm that Road Dogg, Brian James, has been fired by WWE TKO. I could say that I could confirm it, although I will tell you that it seems to me that Brian Road Dogg quit. He was not fired. So, however we're spinning this, it just that's what
do you think we're going to have a WWE spin on that? Will they put out a release and say he was released or we mutually parted ways?
You know what? Truthfully, who gives a shit? Somebody just either lost their job or quit their job, and I think
I agree.
A lot of people are going to sit online and they're going to rejoice about it, and it bothers me because I think the man is super creative, and it's not, whether or not I like Road Dogg or not has nothing to do with this. I do believe that he has a great mind. I would say he should go work for AEW, but Tony seems to be the guy who handles everything. So I don't even know where Brian would fit in there. But again, I just think that we need to stop being like, thank God, or celebrating. This man just either quit or lost his job.
I like that you brought that up because, there is in the IWC this past week, there was a word that was thrown around a lot that was entitlement. Fans entitlement, fans thinking they are entitled to this or that, whether it be a picture or otherwise. I think this ties into that because people are now entitled to say, oh, well, he should have deserved to lose his job. Like, who are you to say someone should lose their job because you don't like what they did every Friday? Like, you don't know what else they do. You don't know what bills.
Well, I will say this: WWE Unreal did not help his case with those fans that didn't like what he was doing because they were showing meetings, and if they disagree with how he was doing it, and then they see the product and also hate it, those are the people that are rejoicing right now because he's out of a job, which is very unfortunate, and I don't agree with it. But you could see where that could have, started from.
Yeah, and again, it's a man either quit or lost his job, and I don't think anybody should be like, about time, all this other stuff. Like, come on, let's be better than that. I would love to go to your place of employment, whether you're flipping burgers or you're working on roofs or you're an executive or you're a mailman or mailwoman or you're an ambulance driver or whatever, an EMT, and I could be like, you suck at your job, get out. Like, just don't do that. Don't do it. All right? All right. Let's talk about the men's chamber. We saw Randy Orton win it, which wasn't a shock to everybody. I did think Cody was going to go over. I still think we're going to get Cody.
Don't worry. He gets another match anyway because he's right. Cody.
It seems like Cody's going to be in a WrestleMania main event no matter what, and rightfully so. Randy wins it. The big thing for me is Seth Rollins' return and targets Logan Paul, which made a lot of sense. But on Raw,
there's no one else left.
Took out Paul Heyman. So there's a lot of things that we could discuss, but let's talk about the men's chamber winner. Randy being put into that spot was the absolute right call because you could absolutely get Cody in there, hook or crook, and we're seeing it now because he's going to have a championship match tomorrow on SmackDown against Drew McIntyre. But this solidifies Randy and his spot in the main event at WrestleMania. Last year, he had an open challenge because of an injury to Kevin Owens, and it was Joe Hendry. Fast forward a year, Randy's in the main event of WrestleMania, I would presume night one, and he's probably the odds-on favorite to win this championship. I've said this, and the frog will be cued. Drew McIntyre is not walking out of WrestleMania with the WWE Championship.
He might not walk into WrestleMania as the WWE Champion, depending on what happens tomorrow night.
Boom. We'll have to see what happens. Yada, yada, yada. Cody's your new champion. Anyway, that's two. We're done. So the thing here is that, are we getting a fatal four-way? Are we getting a triple threat? Is it just going to be Cody and Randy? What did you make of Randy winning? Do you think it made logical sense? From this bald head, I think it did. But I'll go to you first, Jordan. What did you think of Randy winning the chamber instead of Cody?
So I liked Randy winning instead of Cody, because Cody winning would have just been a little bit too predictable. And you dropped the belt just to chase for a little bit longer. But overall, this, and we'll probably get into this here in a second, I think the overbooking and over shenanigans of this chamber took away the importance of Randy Orton's win to me, because to me, and I'm thinking kayfabe wise, like Randy Orton, kind of twilight of his career, trying to get back, trying to get another, just one more world title reign. You know what I mean? Here it is. We got this ref bump and a fake out masked man, and the real masked man, and just a lot of just moving parts. Overall, though, Randy was the right winner. I don't like how they got to Randy, though. There are a certain order of eliminations that I just wasn't a big fan of.
Like what? Give me an example.
If you ask me,
all of Logan Paul's eliminations.
Yes. I think.
Here's the thing, right? To Jordan's point, and I think Juice, this is where you're going to go. If you're going to establish somebody in the chamber, which they've done before, Logan is already very much established. They could have done Javon Evans. They could have done Trick Williams. They could have done who else was in the chamber that doesn't.
Or as Mark Nash called him, Javon Williams.
Yeah, LA Knight could have been more established in the Rumble or the chamber. Like it did. And I like Logan, but I mean, come on.
Okay, Trick Williams' whole like the entrance, the standing over, the heavy breathing, everybody's. I'm like, oh, okay, they about to give him a nice. He's gonna have at least 2 eliminations.
That's what I want to say. Is it's just funny to me that in years past they might have been like more willing to not change plans, but maybe reconsider how the plans go based on how over some people are. And it's not to say that they would change it immediately as the match happens because of how Trick entered, but after you watch that and you see how over he is, and like this is, you have, your guys already set, like Cody, Randy, your Drew, they're already established. When there's a guy literally not knocking on the door, but he is pushing the door over and he's practically damn through it, like Trick Williams, you kind of wonder, like, how quick will he just get right into that main event, spot as soon as WrestleMania is done? He is on an ascension that is very, it's nice to see. I'll say that. Trick Williams.
And I'll say this for everybody who has had a certain narrative floating around about whether it's WWE, TKO, or the booking, et cetera, et cetera. I know they're very impressed with the reactions that Trick Williams is getting to a point where maybe they didn't have Trick in a certain position or spot, and now they're altering things to get Trick into that position and into that spot. I know that they feel, TKO and WWE feels that Trick has ascended like a rocket, and they're going to continue to ignite the rocket. They're not going to stifle it. So Javon has kind of had this push going a little bit where he's kind of showcased. I think Trick is the guy they're going to push to the moon. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trick Williams is your Money in the Bank winner for the men coming up. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trick ends up winning a world championship sooner rather than later. All right. So for all the people out there that are wondering what they're going to do with Trick, I can tell you right now that WWE is thoroughly impressed with the reactions that Trick's getting and how Trick has handled himself. So there you go. And it's not dirt. That's the truth.
It's just dialogue.
Just dialogue. I should have said that, but I didn't.
I know. You had it on. You said it on a silver platter.
I laid it up for you.
I want to ask you guys this. How do you guys feel like we have the Chamber's already a gimmick match?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So we have the fake masked man to come in and finally reveal the real mask. Was it not a little overbooked for you guys?
The Chamber?
Yeah,
I thought the Chamber was a good event. I had no issue with the Chamber whatsoever. I did think the AJ Lee Becky match was a little. It felt clunky, but I mean AJ hasn't done this in a while.
Yeah,
so,
I'm
not reading too much into. I'm not reading too much into that. I thought the event came off well. I was thoroughly entertained. Danhausen, the Punk Finn match was great. Punk's introduction with the Alan Parsons Project and the Michael Jordan Bulls 97 intro was fantastic. I had no issues with this PLE. None. I didn't think it was overbooked at all.
I think I think he was maybe referring just necessarily to the whole event as much as he was to the men's chamber match, having different masked men, things happening. My only issue was that the entrances took too damn long. Like, can't you just get in the chamber and let's get this thing cooking? Because you know how long of a match it is anyway. I didn't necessarily think it was overbooked. This is a match where you can put a lot of shit in it. You got to set up to WrestleMania. You have no other PLEs from then into WrestleMania. So I don't care if you set up 5 different storylines in that match.
This is the same PLE that Shawn Michaels pushed the metal grate out and kicked Taker and Jericho. Give me a break with this stuff.
So with all of that, I'll ask you guys. I mean, so we're obviously going to get Seth Rollins, Logan Paul Mania, right?
Well, I think Drew was alluding to maybe Brock Lesnar because of the Paul Heyman effect.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think everyone's expecting Oba Femi to answer this open challenge, but the way that they set it up, it's kind of like, oh, we don't know. It's almost like, is it going to be Seth? Is it going to be Oba? Oba's been dominating people, Rusev, Miz, anybody else who steps in his way, Kit Williams, all this other stuff. So there's a chance that it is Oba, but there's also a chance it's Seth. And I don't see how Seth Rollins taking out Paul Heyman on Monday Night Raw feels like Brock's going to have a problem with that more than Logan would. I think you can see Logan and Austin Theory in a tag match against the Usos. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I guess you could do that. Well, it's just these injuries. I think if they had it their way, they'd prefer Braun Breaker versus Seth So we don't really know the time frame
Yeah.
on Braun's injury, so I would not necessarily rule that out. And
Well,
I'd almost
hold that thought for a second.
I prefer that than the Brock thing.
The Braun and Seth is the backup plan that they had, because you want to know what they were originally going with was Roman and Seth. And God, what we've gotten with Punk and Roman has been fantastic. But this is like the backup to the backup to the backup, you know.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, your thoughts? Do you think that Brock's gonna have a match with Seth at WrestleMania, or do you think it's going to be Oba?
So like, here's the
Royce
thing.
Keys.
I'm so first. Let me get a little
feel on that. Here we go.
If Royce Keys answers the challenge to Brock,
dumb,
dead on arrival, he would be.
It's not because I don't like Royce Keys. It's just stupid.
No, because why would you have him show up in the Rumble, not show up, and then show up for this challenge and then lose?
And then not show up again. That'd be crazy.
You know, it would just be a very start stop. Oba answering the challenge makes the most sense, so therefore it's probably not going to happen.
If Royce Keys was in the Oba Femi slot right now, in terms of just beating people in squash matches and having these stars who have come over from yesteryear, or well-established stars who are not really doing anything, and he's beating them quickly, then I would say the Royce Keys match makes a lot of sense. With Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is going to lose at WrestleMania unless it's against somebody like a Royce Keys or somebody who hasn't been on television, and they just try and deaden the noise.
Why not Gunther?
I think Gunther will retire Lesnar in Minneapolis. That's what I believe.
But couldn't he challenge him and have the match, and however it goes either way, they set up that next match with retirement on the line? Because Brock's not going to get the quick AJ Styles, we're doing a retirement. And he's not going to get the Cena thing either. So
I think it's possible that Gunther could take on Rey Mysterio in a match where it's Rey's last. Although I would like to see that with Dom, but they've already done the Dom match at WrestleMania, and it was a great one. But Dom retiring his father seems a bit more apropos, something that I would like. But I have a funny feeling that if they're in that meeting and Gunther's got nothing slated for Mania, Gunther versus Rey in a career-threatening match,
it's very convenient. Yeah, it's very convenient if you have someone for retirement. It's like, well, we got Gunther now, so whatever plans you initially had for your retirement, Gunther's doing it now.
It don't seem like Gunther got plans going into Mania. I don't know what he does
not right now.
No,
I would say maybe Brock, but if it's not Brock or Rey Mysterio, I don't know what the hell he was doing.
The only way I could see him answering Brock's challenge is to say that I'm going to put this old man down. Like,
I'd love to see those two in a match.
You know
I hope it does happen.
I don't see any motivation for Gunther to try to pick off Brock Lesnar. Like, you know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. He wouldn't jump up above the card in doing so. Not to say it wouldn't be a bad match, but yeah.
Let's I mean, Brock Lesnar's open challenge. I hope it's answered before WrestleMania. That way we can kind of because people are going to sit back and it's going to be Jericho. Jericho's not coming in.
Would you not want it to be? What about at WrestleMania? You don't want a surprise. You don't want Brock jumping, bouncing around in the ring, and we're waiting to see whose music.
Sure, if it's going to be Oba Femi, yeah.
Okay.
Because if Seth doesn't have an opponent for WrestleMania, and Seth could take on Braun Breaker for all we know. I don't know if Braun's at a Mania yet, but if Seth doesn't have an opponent at WrestleMania and they bring this all the way through with Lesnar, and it's like, well, Lesnar's music's going to hit and then we'll have an opponent, people are going to have the whole, well, Cody debuted with Seth, and then you had Joe Hendry come out with Randy, and it's like, all right, so Chris Jericho is going to take on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Like, that's what people are going to think. Oba would work because people are going to be like, oh shit, meat on meat. And it's going to be like a behemoth. It's a battle of the past and the future. I get that. But if you do Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar and it's not announced, I think it's a mess. And let's not forget, I said that they did Rey and Dom at 39. They also did Logan and Seth at 39. So the match has happened with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. Two different versions of them now, no doubt about it. I just don't know if you revisit that
That'd be like their C or D plan, considering the injuries and what they'd prefer to have. Not to say that's not a great match up in ring, but they've done it already. I mean, they did Seth and Brock already too, so I guess that would also be kind of nuts. But it's a different type of vibe with those two now. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting.
This just came to me too. Is it possible? We have the potential return of Edge and Christian, Cope and Christian on AEW. It seems like you have FTR and Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, what the hell was that interaction for? Unless Johnny Gargano could be coming in. We now know,
honestly,
and we have the Young Bucks waiting in the wings. We now know that Billy Gunn is definitely under AEW contract, and Road Dogg has just become available. I'm just saying, could you give Brian James 2 months to get himself in whatever shape he wants to be in?
Do you really want to see that?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
You know what? No.
I'm asking you. I don't
want to see a match, but I would love to see the act.
Either.
I would love to
see
the
act.
Act
Would be fine, but do you want that? Do you want a let's just call it what it is, a legendary WWE tag team act take up AEW TV time?
I say
that's not Cope and Cage who's going to actually wrestle.
I'll give you the honest. Here's the honest to God truth. I'll give you what I would love to see happen for Brian, which is I would love to see Road Dogg Brian James get any sort of revenue or source of income that he could possibly have. Okay. So if Tony wants to bring him in for a couple matches, whatever. On the flip side of this, I don't even want to see Gargano and Ciampa back together. I want Ciampa in a singles run. I don't need DIY in AEW. I don't. We saw everything we could possibly see about DIY and in professional wrestling. What are you going to do? You're going to have DIY versus FTR? Seen it, boys. I dug it. We're going to have DIY versus Cope and Christian? Okay. DIY versus the Bucks?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of disagree with you, Drew, because I think you didn't necessarily grow up on the PWG style that AEW was
DIY versus the Bucks.
These matches are matches. DIY as a tag team is as AEW coded as it could be. Now, if it's convoluted,
100%.
So I would much rather see that than another tag team from WWE's past. Necessarily, I know DIY technically is, but I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. This is the same man who had Paul White under contract, never really used them. The same man who, I mean, like I think he respects legends, but he's not just going to peddle them out there. As in, now say what you want.
No, I don't need to see the New Age Outlaws in AEW. I don't.
Then there's no reason to bring him in. There's no reason to bring him in.
There is reason to bring him in.
And going to be the roadie.
No, there's reason to bring them in, and that's for the moment, for the YouTube clickable moment.
Sure, I don't mind Brian James and Billy Gunn doing something 1 or 2 times in AEW together where it's like a moment. I mean, let's call it a spade. They brought the Iconics. What are they calling them now?
The Inspiration.
The Inspiration. I mean, give me a break, okay? Collect your money.
I agree with WrestleFish. Bring back the Voodoo Kid Mafia. Let's go. That's a TNA act.
At high noon, Mr. Hickenbottom.
That would be incredible. See, that would be something because they already do those little wink and nods to WWE stuff. But having those two guys do it, I think would be a great way to do it without having.
But I cannot talk out both sides of my mouth because I just won't do it. I've told Tony at times on this program, not personally, to let go of talent that doesn't want to be there and flood the market that really doesn't want to be there and you're not utilizing. Everyone's going to be disgruntled at times because, I deserve more TV minutes and I deserve to be world champion and I deserve to be this and that. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. We get it. So, what I'm saying is that I don't want Tony to bring in everybody. I think Tony should bring in a select few that you can absolutely maximize TV minutes. And I would start letting these people go and flood the gates to let what you're seeing in WWE happen now. There's not enough minutes for these people. Rusev is doing something with Oba, and it's very much like Rusev's in there to get his ass beat and split. That's not what everybody thought when Rusev was released, Miro was released from AEW. Surefire United States champion, surefire Intercontinental champion. He hasn't done anything because there's only so many minutes on a television program. And AEW's got 9,000 talent signed. Flood that market. WWE did it to you.
No, yeah, I think that's you flood the market. You get let off some of these. I don't want to say dead weight contracts, but lack of better word, let off some of that, free up some of that money, and clear up some of the bloatedness of your roster, because I think both rosters are bloated. So that's just a fact. You can look on any roster and see and wonder why this person isn't on TV. But in Tony's case in particular, yeah, you need to just go ahead, flood the market. So if you're going to bring him in, I would have him bring him in on a per date type of deal. Like, hey, come in, do a thing with your friend, and that's it. Obviously creative. I think they're good. AEW's good. So if you are going to bring in a Road Dogg or Roadie, a Brian James, whatever you want to call him, have it be a one-off. Have it be just for a moment. I'd have him do? I'd have him show up on a pre-show and have him have a moment with Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett. I was just going to say that. Because I said the Roadie earlier, but I forgot Jeff Jarrett's literally there. So why not do that? And
I would have some sort of moment with and then like I said, it's just a YouTube clickable moment. Hey, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing more, nothing less.
It's harmless.
All right, let's get into Dynamite, and then I'm going to let you guys drive with any trending topics you guys want to talk about. Let's get into Dynamite. You could even ask about Raw if you want. Last night, AEW Dynamite opened with MJF and Kevin Knight. Thought the match was great. Thought MJF gave Kevin Knight a lot of offense. There was and he really helped, in my opinion, keep established Kevin Knight as a legitimate challenger and competitor here in AEW singles-wise. MJF obviously got the victory, but what did you guys make of the opening contest, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and then we'll get into the rest of the show? Go ahead.
Loved it. Thought it was a great showcase. This was more of a showcase for Kevin Knight than I thought than it would be for MJF. Kevin Knight showing you exactly why he got signed. Kevin Knight showing you exactly why he said, I don't need to try out. I don't need to go to a developmental. Kevin Knight showed you exactly who he is. That kid, he's going to be the future. I've met him. He's incredibly, incredibly kind guy. Really funny too. Incredibly funny. Great match. Just really not much more you could really say. It was just fun to watch. Obviously, MJF is going to get the win. But again, I felt like this was more of I don't want to say coming out party, because Kevin Knight's had multiple of those. So this was just really a showcase of what the future holds.
And that's where I kind of had my only issue with it, was that it was a championship match that you knew he was going to lose. I would have preferred it to be, I know Drew loves these, another eliminator match. And then we know he's probably going to lose, but there's also a chance he could win because he's not winning the championship, because your big main event is a week away. So having an eliminator match probably would have made that a little bit easier for me to digest with
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and I get it, but they've done that already. They did it with Brody, and it's not like it can't be done again. But I mean, you don't want to continuously beat that, and I think it was like a couple weeks ago. So if they did this 3 months from now, where he wins an eliminator, okay, fine.
But he was what my point is. Jordan said we knew he wasn't going to win the match, and I said, well, that's because it was for the world title. So if you knew that, you could still have that same thing, but never have the thought of, you would increase the percentage of people buying that he could win the match because it's an eliminator. I'm not saying you had him win it, but it's more believable that he could win an eliminator than it is the actual world title a week out from a Texas death match with Hangman. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, but you don't want to keep running. I think this is why you just don't have the match. You just...
Well, you want to have a showcase, that's fine, but make it an eliminator where we at least have a belief that he could win. When it's a world title match, there's no way he was winning that. No way.
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, MJF wins. Kevin Knight got a lot of offense. We saw Hangman Page later in the night in a quick squash match, which I thought was ridiculous. But it seemed to bleed into an angle that ended up having a main event match on this episode of Dynamite, which I thought was very convoluted. I'll just be honest with you. The way we got to that trios match was very convoluted and completely unnecessary, in my opinion. You wanted to take the championships off of Hangman Page and Jet Speed, fine. But this was a convoluted ass way to get there.
They just done it on Collision.
They could have. I also don't think that you needed Hangman Page to have a squash match. MJF interrupts, and then we get this. This could have been done so much differently. But again, it is what it is. I didn't think the show overall was bad. But what did you guys think of how we got to this trios main event? Did you think it was convoluted, or am I the only one that
I thought the women were going to main event, to be honest with you. I thought the women had the main event slot, and then all of a sudden, well, we got 2 world title matches tonight. And I was like, okay. I mean, the match was fine. I kind of agree that the way that we got there seemed this seemed unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't
just promote it then. Just promote the match.
I think they made the wrong person pull double duty in the sense of
Kevin Knight.
Yeah, I think the person that should be pulling double duty and it should have been on Revolution should be Hangman, right?
That's another thing, Jordan. Great point. Why
especially with the stipulation?
I understand that there's a Texas Death match coming, right? With Hangman and MJF at Revolution. But who do we have filling in the rematch now? Because we have it's not really a rematch, but we have new trios champions.
Mexico.
But if you want to like make this something where Hangman absolutely defied the odds, do the Bret Hart thing. Have him open and have him close.
What I would have done is I would have had, instead of Don Callis setting up that match for the main event, I would have said, hey, tailgate brawl or the 0 hour, we're going to challenge for the trios titles. So I would have literally had Hangman open up the card, losing the trios titles, which is fine, because then he pulls double duty and then challenges for the World Heavyweight Championship. I wouldn't have had the match go on last night. I would have just very simply had set the matchup for the final, the 0 hour. That way, you have people actually tune in for your 0 hour. Oh, not only are titles on the line, but Hangman's on 0 hour. You know what I mean? So it would have been, I think it just would have been a better way to get the same result.
I just don't understand the point of taking the championships off of Jet Speed and Hangman, only to have a rematch on Revolution with Mystico filling in for Hangman Page. You know what I would have liked to have seen? You could have had, Hook and Shibata are testing out Bowens, right? To see if he's going to be a killer enough. Why not put those 3 against the newly crowned trios champions? Anything else, but we don't need Jet Speed in a rematch. I would have rather seen Kevin Knight take on Okada and Speedball versus Fletcher or whatever. You can mix that up however you want to do it. Give them singles matches. I don't need a rematch. With Mystico filling in for fucking Hangman Page.
Blake seems to think that there was a little hypocritical nature to your comment, saying that you shit all over the double duty a couple of years ago when Max did it at All In on 0 hour.
That was for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. This is an AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was also an AEW.
I remember that. I remember that take. I very specifically remember that take. Yeah. You didn't like that the ROH tag title. If it were the AEW tag title,
Blake's also forgetting that MJF and Adam Cole were your main event, and MJF was your world champion. If something happens in that match, then don't have a main event or your world champion in it. Now, if Hangman Page happens to get screwed up or injured in the trios match, you'd have to pivot and find an opponent for Max in the main event. But not having your world champion in your main event at your biggest show of the year would be an absolute problem. So it's not apples to apples here. All right.
It's a little different, but no, I thought it was convoluted for sure how we got here. I will say this. I hope they invoke some sort of Freebird rules with the trios titles now that they're with the Don Callis family.
Yeah, let's do it. 10 guys could be champions.
Exactly. I mean, well, you mentioned earlier that, the whole double champion. I hate the double champions. I hate
once again. I will bring up Drew. You were not a PWG guy, and PWG is the foundation of AEW, and PWG had trios matches as their foundation. I'm not being like a mark for it. I'm telling you that's why they have them. Trios titles are probably more important to them than like the national or something.
If we want $1 billion indie, which it seems like a lot of you guys do, then go for it.
Is that okay? you're
we don't need all these championships.
But I wouldn't take
guys holding the same damn title.
That I agree with, but I don't think you have to have the national and continental. We'll get rid of one of those. I like the trios title. It stands out than the rest of the belt.
All right, you want to keep? Listen, I'm a man of compromise. I can compromise.
Yeah, that's fine.
You want to keep the trios? Fine. I need to get rid of the international, the sister mass, the fucking Canada heavyweight championship, whatever they're calling these. Like, come on.
No,
I'm just saying that was a big part of what AEW was built on, and I think that's why they like having them. Sure, don't have maybe for certain storylines you could have a double champion being in there if you book it correctly, but not every time. And then get rid of one of the singles titles, and I think I would be fine with everything.
As far as the trios titles are concerned, they could not be with the better group. Like, if you're going to crown trios champions, if you're going to have a trios division, all of that, the Don Callis family is right where those titles need to be. Because again, if you invoke a free word rule, you have an opportunity to Davis, Andrade. You can do whatever.
The one thing that was good out of this match was Mark Davis winning a championship. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. I liked it. Mark Davis, I was ringside at Full Gear, and me and my brother sat next to each, and I said, man, and he said, who the hell is that? I said, that's Dunkzilla. He goes, who the hell is that? I said, it's Mark Davis. And he was like, he's like, dude, solid. And this is a casual wrestling fan. Only really watches WWE, but he watches AEW because I tell him this or that or whatever. And I thought, okay. And I watched him, and he had a very good showing. And again, I think that's a positive here. But again, you want to keep the trios title, Juice and Jordan? Fine. Why is Okada, Fletcher holding multiple championships? What does that do?
Right, but that's not the title's fault. That's the booking around the championship's fault. Okay. And I would get rid of, someone asked me, and I would get rid of the Continental title as altogether. If you win the tournament, you get a shot at the world title and you get a trophy.
What does Jon Moxley do? Because it seems like John's got to be a champion, either hook or crook.
Okay, well, I think it's I don't think that. I think much more Ricochet than anything, but Ricochet's actually going to these other places and defending it. So I kind of like that. I think the Continental title should just be a trophy, and you get a world title shot at the next pay-per-view or something. You don't need a title belt for that. Same with the Owen Hart. Like, why do we need that as a belt? Trophy.
I don't mind that. That's kind of like the Money in the Bank. It's just for them to parade around with. I don't mind that at all.
Okay, but well.
But all right, Slick, what championship would you get rid of? The question has been extended to you.
If I were to get rid of a title in AEW, I'd get rid of the international, the one that Okada has not defended since December or November, maybe, something like that. Like, there's just it's nice, it's cool, but like it's the equivalent of the Continental, and then Continental, like they're one and the same. So like, what's the point? I would get rid of that, and then I'll tell
you what I drop.
What?
We're gonna have to do this the right way, though. I get rid of the TNT championship, not because of its prestige. It's because we don't know what's coming down the pipeline. So
get out of it ahead of time.
Yeah, you want to flip the international title and make it what the TNT is, fine. But I would get rid of these quote unquote TNT and TBS championships. I would rebrand them. The women's don't have another championship, but for the men at this point, get rid of the TNT title, use the international title, and basically, you swap them. So I'm with you. There's too many. The national championship, where he could go to with Ricochet's holding, you want to keep that and kind of use that as like the stepping stone where they could go to different promotions and get the AEW exposure. Like fine, great, love it. But hindsight being 2020, and I'm a long gamer, not a short gamer. Shout out to Dwayne. I would do the TNT scrap.
You mean the Dwayne, as Danhausen called him. The Dwayne.
The Dwayne. Yes.
The Dwayne.
I don't like the Continental title because I've said it a million times. I think it's a ticking time bomb, but that's a story for another day. What else do we want to talk about? I thought Tekla was fantastic on Dynamite. She always is.
I saw
some people asking why not Britt Baker. I've said this ad nauseum. I'm going to say it again. Britt will never be seen in AEW unless something insane happens. So we can get off that. What else happened? David Finlay. What do you guys think of David Finlay? We'll get to Swerve. What do you guys think of David Finlay?
I thought that, so I said this yesterday on a space, I think this was a great marketing move by Tony Khan. You brought in Gabe Kidd, no announcement, no is he signed, is he not? Just you brought in Clark Connors, again, no announcement, no is he signed, is he not? Nothing. Those two operate together. They never once hint at David Finlay coming in. They never, they don't leave you thinking that he's going to come in. So you're just thinking it's going to be Gabe Kidd and, hey, the War Dogs are over with, right? Everybody's going their own separate ways. And then this happens, right? And then when this happens, immediately the graphic comes out, all three of them, the Dogs. I thought that was a genius move by Tony. It seems like, and then you come to find out that the deal got done within the last week. So I think this was a move where he set himself up perfectly, where everything lined up. I thought David Finlay came in a great spot. Good good crowd reaction, getting the boos. I mean, he's a heel. That's what you want. Very happy for him. I think that he will flourish in AEW. Given the chance, I think he will flourish.
Well, that's where my only issue is. What is this group going to be mainly doing? Is one going to succeed over the other, or are they going to be more of a trios thing? I like having multiple packs of trios if you have maybe one or two of them that have a standout single star. But when you come in as a trio, I don't think I would like the trios champion because I want to keep them. I'd like to have them. I'd love to see a team come in and we want the trios. Like make it that'd be cool to have them actively wanting the championship instead of we're paired together as a three, so we have no choice but to be a trios champion. Like it works for a faction like Don Callis family. It's like, well, don't we want three guys to be champions? We have a trios title they could have. So that's my only question: is what will Gabe, Clark, and Finlay do? Will they just stick together? Because I don't mind that at all. But if one maybe gets ahead of the other, that I just don't want them to split up as quickly as they arrived here. Is what I'm getting at. Yeah,
I if you ask me, I think though we're waiting on some injuries, times to come back because there's a lot that can happen because Jay White, David Finlay, that interaction. David Finlay, Kenny Omega. We got the whole Bullet Club thing, which personally I think will never happen. I know we've been fantasy booking this Bullet Club leaders match for decades now. It's never going to happen. But it's going to be nice to kind of reference to or hint and talk about, like with David Finlay and the eventual Jay White return. So if you ask me what they're doing, I think they should have that motivation as a trio. All right, let's take out Darby, take out Orange Cassidy. That's their first feud. Move on to the trios titles.
Billy asked about Jay White. I have no update on Jay White. I think everybody's wondering when and where, but we have no update. I agree with you, boys. I like the Finlay debut here. I'm a huge fan of Kidd and Finlay. Connors works for me too. I have to see more of them. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and tell you I know everything about the guy. I don't. But I like Gabe Kidd and I like Finlay. I think when I've watched them wrestle, there's unique characteristics and everybody in AEW can lace them up. There's no doubt about it. But Gabe Kidd and Finlay have a unique characteristic in terms of how they get over with the fans, the way they conduct themselves, everything else. So I'm a fan.
I'll tell you the one thing I learned about Clark Connors that pissed me off. Apparently he's dating Tekla. So
he's what?
Yeah, he's dating Tekla.
Oh, fuck. Good for him.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, good for him,
brother. All right.
Well, Drew doesn't care. Drew's a happily married man, so these things don't bother me.
These things don't bother.
Happily married, but I call a spade, and Tekla's a dime. So and she could wrestle. So
with some change, yeah.
All right. So let's talk about. We saw what we all thought was going to happen. Brody King and Swerve. The match is now official, I believe, for Revolution, and I'm all for it. Swerve continues to be a character that continues to just shock and awe at times. And Swerve has been, but the things that he's doing now really give him that edge that I think take no prisoners.
I love
we'll still cheer for him. So I don't think he's a heel either.
Is he sick? Sure. I don't think he's a heel in MJ. I don't want to wrestle. I don't want to give me the belt, give me the accolades. Swerve, give me the belt, give me the accolades, and I'll do whatever I need to do to get them. I like that. There's this great juxtaposition with when you look at Brody King and when you look at him and the visual of kind of taking down the giant, so to speak, and having him, hooked up, chain around the neck and whatnot. Great visual. Personally, I would have saved that for the go home. I would have saved that for next week, personally, if you ask me. So it makes me wonder what they have going between those two next week, if anything at all.
I will suggest that could they make this match a dog collar match by next week?
And so you took and this is why I love working with you. I think that's
a dog collar match.
I think they're going to work, which would be Swerve's first dog collar match.
And Brody's second, I think.
Yeah, Brody's second, Swerve's first, because Swerve has done almost every match.
He's just done all these weapons in other matches, but he's never actually had a dog collar match. I don't believe.
Yeah, so I would actually, you know what? Book it, Tony. I know you watch it. Let's do it. Like I think that would be making that a stipulation.
No idea whether or not Tony Khan is watching this, by the way. All right.
No,
you're just flippantly saying that you're discussing things with him.
I did not.
Blake called it out. Blake called it out in the chat.
I know. Don't feed the trolls. Nobody said that. I said whether it's not personal or it's not something I've ever discussed with him. I've been in the same room with him. I've done media stuff with him. Don't feed the trolls. Okay. All right.
Hey, I'm just saying.
I think that I think the segment was great. I would have personally saved it for the go home, just for the visual of it all. But still, I mean, Swerve, every time he gets to doing something really good, you want to say, man, this is the best of his career. And I don't want to say that because the next thing, it's just going to keep getting better. Yeah. So this is just really, really good work by Swerve. Really, really good work.
Yeah. I'm hopeful that we get maybe a dog collar match to set up.
So you two believe that Swerve is not a heel. He's just, doing these dastardly things. Okay.
No, he's a violent man. No, not even. He's telling you who he is. He's just the most dangerous.
Yeah, he's not he had heelish tendencies by taking the ref and putting her in harm's way for him to win the match. But that's because he had to win the match. It wasn't because he hates Aubrey or anything. Like, I don't know. And he took out the Elite, which it's consistent with how Swerve has acted this entire time. So it's just consistency with Swerve's character. And, you can't even say he's being dastardly now all of a sudden. This is a guy that was in blood feuds with Hangman with, unspeakable things being done. So.
All right. Let's talk about whatever these two want to talk about.
Juice.
We'll start with Juice, and then we'll go to Jordan. Jordan, what do you want to talk about? Or Juice, what do you want to talk about? Sorry.
Well, I'm just going to go straight from what was reported today, which I'd like to hear some more, maybe information or what have you, that I can't believe it. For the first time ever, WWE is probably going to counter program AEW with a potential Saturday night's main event.
They have a show.
Let's hear what that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a show in Lexington, Kentucky the night before. So there's been rumored locations that are going to be somewhere around there for that Saturday show.
Okay.
So Friday's in Lexington, I believe, for SmackDown. Saturday would be anywhere. I guess you could start bringing out a map and say it could be in Tennessee. It could be in this and that, whatever. They're also going to be international, very close to that, because I believe it's Clash in Italy, and they have some Raws and SmackDown set up international. So I've been told that it could very well be a East Coast location. I don't know if it's going to be New York, but the main hub that they want to fly out of
psychotic
to get to Italy and international could be JFK, which is in New York, obviously. So there's a Monday Night Raw, obviously. I don't know where that's going to be. It hasn't been announced, but I'd keep an eye on it. AEW is absolutely getting counter program. They have been for a while here now. And if WWE can even get remotely close to where AEW is going to be on Sunday during Memorial Day weekend in Queens, New York, I think they will. So, Jordan?
I think this is another moment where Tony and AEW just have to keep looking forward, right?
Tunnel vision.
All in, right? That was one of the first kind of big major counter programmings that they encountered. Had to move their show up
with Goldberg
4 hours, right?
Yeah.
And the show still went off without a hitch. All In was great. So if it is you're going to be counter programmed, so what? So what? Trust in the quality of your product. Shout out Carlos. Trust in the product.
Isn't Double or Nothing on Sunday night, right? So even if a Saturday night show would happen, it's not necessarily
right. But Juice, you're well aware of this, and so is Jordan, and so is really everybody who's watching this right now. There's only so much money to go around, and
I agree with that.
Unless you're making a ton of money, which God bless you, you have to allocate where you're going to go and what you're going to do. Now, if WWE announces a Saturday night main event in Boston, okay, that's going to impede. Now, don't get me wrong, people have already bought their tickets.
Couldn't have been for Cena's retirement, but we'll do it for this one.
Some people have already bought a lot of tickets for Double or Nothing. It sold very well in the pre-sale and the VIP packages. But if you announce that Saturday night's main event shortly, within the next week or two, there are some people who are not able to have the expendable cash flow to buy tickets right now, or they're not going to charge them on credit cards or whatever, and they'll wait a little bit. Now, if WWE announces a show that's close and, they start to make it where it's going to be a Punk and Roman rematch or something big where it's another retirement thing or whatever, then that money might go to WWE instead of AEW. That's the plan here. That's the plan. It's not going to go the same night. Like, I think those days are done, Juice, truthfully. I don't think AEW and WWE are going to run head to head in terms of like, if we're Sunday, we're going to come Sunday. Like, I just don't think that's going to happen. Could they do, here and there a Saturday pay-per-view against a Saturday event? Sure, that might happen.
Well,
WWE's not going
to. I know what you're saying, but I still think Saturday night's main event is quite again, Cena's retirement was on one of those, so they take those very seriously. So even if it's not necessarily a PLE versus a pay-per-view, I still think it's a pretty big deal.
You are 100% accurate. It doesn't need to be a PLE. Saturday night's main event, if they stack it just like the Goldberg thing, could absolutely prevent AEW from grabbing as much revenue as they can from the tri-state area fan base
and viewership too. I mean, I know that, especially with pay-per-view, like if you're watching something on free TV, you're not going to flip over and just buy something just because, unless you're one of us. But
Jordan, last word, go ahead. What do you think about this? Like,
again, just AEW, if you are going to get counter program, just keep doing what you're doing. You're setting yourself up. It's been a while since you've been back in New York in this capacity. A lot of people I've been seeing online, a lot of people already got their tickets. A lot of people are psyched and ready for this show. So if it's a Saturday night, it's a main event, cool, great. Don't let it stop what you're doing. And the same goes for WWE. I don't think WWE should start to go out of their way. Now, when it comes up to the dollars, sure, as a business, do what you got to do. But I would not, the days of, I think you're right on this one, Andrew, the days of the kind of reactionary, we're going to book the same day or I'm going to book this in reaction to what you just booked. I think those days are behind us. So again, if I'm AEW, I'm in Queens, man, I would make this one of my bigger cards of the year. I truly would. I don't know how you do that, but I would make this one of the bigger cards of the year. Again, don't worry about counter program. Don't worry about, just, again, do what you do. Focus on, control the controllables. And I think AEW will be fine, ultimately.
Yeah, like I said, tunnel vision. I mean, regardless of what happens, in AEW's world, they never are booking for those other fans. It's kind of assumed that wrestling fans will want to watch wrestling, and they've already got their sickos, their own fan base that they cater to. So anything else is kind of like a bonus. They never acknowledge like, oh, we've got another show that we're going up against. Like they just take it in stride and knock it out of the park every time on paper.
And here's the deal. Okay. There's a lot of shakeups coming in WWE. There is. And I'm not talking about the roster. I'm talking about writing. I've said this. If you watch our show and pay attention, I know that TKO is getting more and more involved. The heads of TKO, Ari Emanuel, those type of people, Endeavor is getting more involved and voicing their displeasure with what's going on inside WWE in terms of some of the ticket sales for WrestleMania and some of the lackluster builds and everything else like that. They're shaking shit up. There's no doubt about it. We talked about Road Dogg's departure. We're talking about other things. I think there's more to come here. I don't think this is a one and done situation. I think you're going to see maybe a complete overhaul. So we'll have to wait and see. So just keep an eye on that as well. We'll go 1-1. Jordan, what do you want to talk about?
I want to bring up, so we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to circle back to it, and that is Danhausen. I personally think that the
Very
debut, very nice, very you. I will go ahead and say this. I'm gonna say my spiel, how I feel in them. I have seen people in the matter of days make a complete 180 on what it is on comedy characters, on gimmicks. Now I'm starting to see all of a sudden everybody loves Danhausen, right? When Danhausen beforehand was getting compared to Orange Cassidy or a blow-up doll, so on and so forth, right? Nobody liked Orange Danhausen. Now everybody's putting Hausen behind everything. And so it's just, I think it's funny how quickly and how fickle people can be. But in regards to the debut itself, I think it was a wet fart. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really think it was a wet fart.
No one's gonna argue that. I mean, but there was no way that I told this to somebody.
Should have been a backstage thing.
Yes, you could have protected Danhausen by having him in a backstage where they open the crate backstage and they could have not had the crowd reaction or whatever. Putting him in front of the live crowd was an interesting choice. But at the end of the day, I said this to my buddy who doesn't watch professional wrestling regularly. He said, "Who the hell is this guy?" And I said, "It's Doink the Clown minus Matt Bourne." Actually, like, because Matt Bourne could wrestle. All right. And I'm not saying Danhausen can't, but Matt Bourne can wrestle. But I think Danhausen's character is going to be more well liked and well received than Doink. I truthfully believe that.
Sure. It'll be
the crowd debut was not good, Jordan. No one's going to argue. If anybody argues that, they're nuts.
And to your point about people like kind of doing the Hausen thing, I personally like that everybody's kind of rallying around the man and the character in spite of how he was debuted, because Danhausen probably would have wanted himself to be maybe a backstage thing and not necessarily be out there and potentially have it go, so negatively across the board. I like that people are kind of getting behind it, and you see it in storylines now. His first interaction backstage was great. And
it was great.
I turned around based off that. I mean, I'll see what happens.
It was great. He had the list of demands, all of that, Hausen this, Hausen that, Hausen this, Hausen that. The bell has to ring eventually.
Not in WWE.
You just saw how they're going to use Danhausen. He cursed Dom, and Dom immediately drops the Intercontinental Championship. I think there could be very good television if Dom continues to lose matches and lose titles, and he's like, dude, what the hell is going on? The Judgment Day implodes, and Danhausen is shown in the background. So I told you were cursed, all this other stuff. And yes, eventually, Jordan, the bell does have to ring. But my son watching this doesn't give a shit if Danhausen could do a 450 or a Hurricane Rana or a Insecurity or anything else like that. He just wants to be entertained, and wrestling is best. And it doesn't matter what wrestling you watch. As a variety show, you need to appeal to everybody, and you need to hit a wide net. And I think that Danhausen is going to do that.
And I think Danhausen will do that. Danhausen will do a great job in that. But here's the ultimate problem. WWE's structure is not formatted for someone to thrive that way. R-Truth had a ceiling, for $1 name. That's there's a difference between a comedy act and a comedy wrestler. And Danhausen is both. Sometimes you can be both.
R-Truth can go if we're making the comparison.
And that's the thing. R-Truth is a comedy act, but in nowhere near is he a comedy wrestler.
No, hell no.
Right?
Hell no.
So do you guys really think that WWE is going to sit here and play tequila in the middle of a Danhausen match? If you didn't know, yes, that's one of his spots in his matches.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to. First of all, love me some tequila. I don't think they're going to license that song.
I don't even think maybe this is a crazy take. I don't think Danhausen needs to even wrestle a match for WWE for him to get over.
Somebody say that. I was waiting on you to say that. I was waiting on somebody to say that. So
for him to be effective for what WWE needs him to do, I don't necessarily. Why would he need to be in the ring? I
don't think it needs to serve. I don't think it needs to like revolve around the match, Juice, to what you're saying. But you are going to have some sort of payoff here. Eventually,
why are we bolstering
the payoff? The payoff was he cursed Dom, and the payoff was Dom lost the championship. So all we have to go on thus far.
So how do you get the curse reversed?
How
do you get the curse reversed?
That's something that we'll have to see how they play that. But I don't think a match. But I don't think a match is going to be that.
This feels like a QR code and Bray Wyatt written all over it. Like,
what? Explain
in the sense of like, we're just doing stuff. We're just doing it. There's no rhyme or reason. We're just doing it.
But like, the Wyatt and all those they are wrestlers and they are continuing that.
If Danhausen doesn't wrestle in his first 3 months in WWE, it wouldn't shock me, nor would I care. That's not the character.
I don't think he needs to. I don't know. I don't see a need for him to wrestle, to be quite honest with you.
At all.
Give me a reason why would WWE put him out?
All right, Juice, I'm going to put a pencil in your hand. How do you book Dom to get out of being cursed? Does he have to beat Danhausen? Because he's going to drop another championship. He's going to wonder what the hell's going on. Danhausen, still cursed, Dom. How do you get the curse off of Dom?
So, I mean, I guess in theory, if you want to play that you have to beat Danhausen for him to be uncursed. I just don't buy that because
I'm just asking you to book it. You can
I'm hashing it out with everybody being able to contribute too. Being in a match and losing the match, is that going to uncurse Dom?
He could do favors for Hausen. He could do whatever, whatever we're going to do. I'm with you. But I think eventually, my son at 9 might ask, hey, Dad, when is this guy going to wrestle? Is he ever going to wrestle? And if I just don't
see, here's my thing. I see a lot of benefit from him never wrestling, right? What benefit would you see from him wrestling? Because he can do all these things. But he can do but his most important thing thus far has been backstage just cursing someone.
Which
works in the WWE landscape.
They need to play the hits with Danhausen, and the hits is not the ring. Okay, we get it. We get it. I'm with you. But I think eventually you're going to have to have too.
I just don't see a payoff for like what reason he because if he gets he'll go in the ring and he's not he's going to get killed, right? So then what happens? He's better served just being this guy that sneaks up and does this thing and this thing. He's got
so we're hiring.
Maybe WWE has never had a character like this before, and we don't know how to necessarily work with it as fans.
So Tony, AEW, TNA, CMLL, get you Krusty the Clown, because that's what you telling me. That's what you telling me. Get. He don't have to wrestle.
I love me some Krusty the Clown.
Here's my thing, Jordan. Do you want to see Danhausen wrestle?
Yes, because he's a wrestler. Yes.
Okay, but if your only like reasoning for wanting to see him is quote because he's a wrestler is asinine. You don't want to see anything interesting with him. His interesting stuff is backstage. So let's
expect him to play tennis. If I go to a wrestling match or watch a wrestler, I expect
there's a halftime show. There's halftime shows at football games,
and there's cheerleaders, and there's commercials, and
Jordan, I'm not paying attention to that. Now, one of it.
There's a reason Danhausen. There's a reason
that's what I'm tuned in for.
There's a reason Danhausen didn't work as well in AEW is because it's a all pro wrestling company. So go to WWE where you don't have to wrestle, and he's going to be a huge star. His merch is flying off the shelf.
Well, it is, and really quickly. Everybody's saying he's number one in merch sales. How the fuck do you know that?
Well, it's number one on the page. That's all we can go off of. Now, if they make it seem like it's
he has
they
one
have
shirt,
facts,
you mean to tell me he's outselling John Cena, who has 20? Shut up! No,
well, that's
he's
not necessarily fair. If he could be the highest seller in terms of money made instead of quantity sold.
What Jordan's referring to was a report that's going around, and I do believe Danhausen's shirt was the number one seller for that day or the weekend. Yeah. I don't know if it's currently number one.
That's what happens when you drop new shirts.
Yeah, but Jordan, if Danhausen is going to make it,
demeaning the point because you want to just wrestle a match.
Is going to make it anywhere. Okay, in professional wrestling, it is 1,000,000% the WWE.
Sure, the place that puts wrestling behind.
That's my point,
and that's fine. That's fine.
Can you guys name one other character
wrestle in WWE? Do they not? Do they not?
Say that again. The best wrestlers.
Some of them.
Yeah, for sure. Of course they do. Of course they do.
So what WWE is casting a wide net. Yeah. You don't like it, and that's okay. You're entitled to that opinion. Well, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because you're not. It's your opinion. Anybody who comes on here, any talking head that comes on here and says that Jordan's wrong or Juice is wrong or I'm wrong because of my opinion or their opinion is an absolute ass. It's wrestling. It's all subjective. If you don't like something, you don't like something. It's an opinion. This isn't an opinion-based show. It's an opinion-based company. I don't know what people would have an issue with that. Jordan doesn't like it. Okay. I think Danhausen's going to make a lot of money for WWE, and Danhausen's going to make good money in WWE. And I think the character works. It does in WWE. And if he doesn't wrestle, okay. I'd like to see it, but if he doesn't, whatever.
I would like to cast this net to all three of us because we are longtime wrestling fans with probably north of 70 years combined watching wrestling. Yeah. Has there been a character? Because maybe I'm just not thinking about it immediately. Is there a character that literally has only done backstage stuff and never wrestled in WWE? Because like even Doink wrestled. He would come out.
Yeah, Doink was a very good wrestler.
Well, sure. But what I'm saying is like even those guys wrestled. Even the most crazy characters wrestled.
Terry? No, she had a match.
I mean, there's people that were never even supposed to wrestle that wrestled in matches.
Teddy Long.
Tiger Ali?
Something versus that's Tyler Ali Singh or whatever. But
yeah, Tiger Ali Singh. Remember?
Like Eric Bischoff was in stuff. Jonathan.
I mean, even Hornswoggle wrestled. I'm trying to think.
He was cruiserweight champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and look, it's not to say that Danhausen couldn't wrestle for something lesser than, but I'm just saying I don't think he needs to wrestle at all for him to be an immense success in WWE, and I'd quite frankly keep it that way. I don't need to see him wrestle. It doesn't prove anything.
He will be a success in WWE because of that. Yes. How long? I guess where I'm trying to get at is the length and the ceiling of that success. I wouldn't hold my breath on.
And neither would I. And WWE likes to run stuff into the ground. That's why I'm giving this. It's been a week, and I've liked what I've seen so far. I just don't think that, he's got to wrestle. For what? Like, it's not going to do anything for him. If anything, it's going to be a negative because he's not that.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. It would more.
So if they know that.
Has Paul Heyman ever wrestled?
He was, back in WCW. Paulie dangerously wrestled for sure.
So I was using that. Okay.
That's the third WCW reference today. All right.
What about Paul Ellering?
Oh yeah, he was in match. He might have went against him. He definitely had matches against Jim Cornette.
I was about to say he had a match against Jim Cornette.
Express.
Terry Runnels wrestled eventually, I believe. Right?
Terry wrestled.
I mean, really everybody.
And also Teddy Long used to be a wrestler. So
yeah, I know he was also a referee and
he was a manager for Doom and
the only person I could think of is maybe Tiger Ali Singh.
They said Miss Elizabeth never wrestled, so that's someone I can agree with.
Danhausen, the 2026 Miss Elizabeth.
Juice. She had a match in WCW. I remember that it was uncensored. I don't know if the match ever got off.
She was never in a match.
It wasn't. Yeah,
you're thinking of the future maybe Molly Holly as Miss Madness, who went against Charles Robinson, who also Slamboree 99 as Little Nate. They had a match even on pay-per-view.
Yeah, Little Nate 99. Yeah, I remember that. That was a good one too. But I guess
someone said really needed.
Here it is. WCW Nitro, Miss Elizabeth versus Daphne. WCW Nitro, Miss Elizabeth versus
what year was this?
Mang versus Miss Elizabeth, no contest. Miss Elizabeth versus Rhonda Singh, no contest. Medusa, no contest. So, like I said, I don't think the match has ever happened, but she got in the ring.
The only one that has anything is Rhonda Singh beating her, but that was by disqualification. The other two were no contests.
All right, let's get off this because it was
real.
Yeah. Anything else that we want to talk about? I mean, we saw Penta as the new Intercontinental Champion. Speaking of Danhausen, I thought that's a good move. Penta moves a lot of merch. He's over with the kids and the adults, like I said on my quick Raw review. Since you all asked for it, I oblige. And I think it's a good way to have a champion roll into WrestleMania. Penta is your Intercontinental Champion. But this begs the question. What does Dom do at Mania? I think the curse continues all the way through Mania, and you get Dom versus Finn. That's what I think.
And I think it should be the Demon.
Yes, I think you should have. So, if piggybacking off of Elimination Chamber, Finn Balor is set up to have the greatest face turn. One of the better. I'm not gonna say greatest. One of the better face turns we've seen in a long time, right? Because people want the Demon. Everybody wants the Demon back. We ain't seen the Demon in so long. Okay. 2. He planted the seed telling Dom, what was it, a week and a half ago? Maybe it was last week. You need to grow up, so there's already the tension between those two. Dom will not be a face. I think he serves better as a heel. And I would love to see the crowning of a face Finn Balor Intercontinental. Well, no, he already lost him, but maybe matter of fact, make it a triple threat. Crown Finn Balor.
If it's those two, I don't think you're going to make it a triple threat.
Well,
I think Penta might be in a ladder match situation.
Good point. Yeah. That probably will be. So then, either way it goes, I think this is setting up for Demon Finn to show up at WrestleMania. I can't remember the last time we've seen Demon Finn, and then not only that, a face turn, because I think they need more credible faces for the chase right now. And I could see a situation where 2027 Finn Balor is back into that main event scene. I would really like to see him challenge for that title. Maybe, one more time as a face. Him, Drew McIntyre would be really, really cool. Him versus, I don't know if you turn CM Punk heel, but if you want to, you can run it back, have CM Punk turn heel. But regardless, I think a face Finn Balor is what we should get out of this Dom match.
I wouldn't hate it.
I think that we're gonna get it. WrestleMania.
I think Dom and Finn having a match with the curse being still looming with Danhausen. Maybe Danhausen's ringside with Finn. Finn's got the white and black and red. Danhausen's got the white, the black, and the red. I think it could work. It's a little Evilhausen. I dig it. We'll have to wait and see. But I think Finn needs a program at WrestleMania that makes a lot of sense. This does, and something that people can get invested in, and this does this too. So does Dom. I mean, call a spade a spade. Dom is a star. So is Finn. Finn just came off a major match with CM Punk in Chicago for the World Championship. I think you got to do right by him. Anything else? What do you guys want to talk about? AJ Lee? She's the new Intercontinental Champion. What do you want to talk about?
I got one more. Well, where is Mr. Royce Keys? I think right now I think it's a problem.
I'm sure you heard what I said already on Hannibal's Space, which you guys and girls should tune into. But go ahead.
For those who haven't heard it.
Well, go ahead, Jordan.
I'm just kind of curious as to where he's at, why you don't have him in anything right now. You had him debuted in the Rumble, had a pretty decent Rumble showing, and nothing, and no vignette. Now again, I could be picking my face up off the ground. Tomorrow he could have a coming soon vignette for SmackDown, because word is he's slated to go to SmackDown. But I think they would be it would be a failure to not have this guy on your Mania card. I think it would be a failure.
I disagree. I think right now anything that Royce Keys would do would be damage control. Truthfully, I'm not talking about the group. I think because of what's going on online, and if you don't think that Triple H and all these other people see what's online, you're completely mistaken. Look at what they're doing. They're shaking things up. So again, I don't think your voice carries that much weight on social media. I'm talking to everybody, not Jordan and Juice. But I don't think it goes unnoticed. I think anything that Royce Keys would do right now would seem forced, and it would seem like damage control. I want to say it was Hannibal. I don't want to steal somebody's idea, but I think Royce Keys in the Andre the Giant and winning it during WrestleMania weekend is a launching pad that works. You could also have a big man do the pose right next to it like they've done before. Also, if they don't do that, I'd be okay with it. Have Royce Keys show up on the Monday Night Raw or the SmackDown, which I believe he's going to as well, Jordan, which I did put out there. I think he's on the SmackDown, the blue brand. Have him debut after Mania and have him sink his teeth into a program. We don't need to rush him because what are you doing at WrestleMania? At this point, we don't need to rush him. I explained why they had him at the Rumble at length on Hannibal's show. Royce Keys was under contract. They asked him, hey, we're going to debut you at the Rumble, blah, blah, blah. And it was easy. A lot of the vets or a lot of the surprises that they might have want to have happen at the Rumble, some of those people didn't want to take a 16-hour flight. They would never say that to WWE because they're not stupid enough to do so. But that's the real reason, okay, for a one-off that was going to nowhere. Royce Keys was under contract. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm actually finding something for Hobbs Keys that makes sense. And if it's after WrestleMania, I'm all for it. If it's the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, I'm all for it. Because right now, what do you do with him at WrestleMania if you debut him or re-debut him tomorrow? Someone's got to tell me. LA Knight, he's going to lose. Like, what are we going to do? You don't want to have this guy because there's already so much going on the internet about him, everything else like that. You got to do it the right way. Just my opinion.
So why not start tomorrow? Start tomorrow.
All right, Jordan, I gave the pencil to Juice one time. I'm going to give it to you. Book me Royce Keys and book me through WrestleMania.
So I would have Royce Keys come out and start a program with Carmelo Hayes. I would, I'd have him start a program with Carmelo Hayes.
All right, I'm here. I'm here for a minute. I don't know how long I'm going to be here for. Go ahead.
I'll help you out immediately. Do the open challenge. Have him answer that.
Yeah, I would have him. Well, because Carmelo Hayes and that U.S. title has nothing going for it right now. So I would have Carmelo Hayes tomorrow. Hey,
lose the championship to Royce Keys.
I wouldn't have him. I wouldn't have him win it. Not yet.
So then, what do you do? How do you have Royce Keys come out strong in this one? So
I would have Carmelo lay out the open challenge, say, hey, I didn't have a match at an Elimination Chamber. I'm angry. I'm laying out an open challenge. Boom. Royce comes out. They have a match. Carmelo skates away through shenanigans. Right. So then we can have a continuous back and forth. Maybe, then the next week I'd have Royce in a kind of a tune-up match. I'd have him go up against Ray Phoenix, something like that. Somebody that they feel is expendable.
Phoenix buried. Go ahead.
Yeah. Even more than he already is. I'm just putting flowers on the top of the grave at this point. I would have him, I would show in the weeks leading up
right now. I'm still with you.
In the weeks leading up, I would have Royce Keys just showcase what he can do.
So we having Royce Keys and Carmelo Hayes at WrestleMania.
I would have them on the pre-show. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're gonna crown Royce Keys your United States champion on the pre-show.
I wouldn't crown him. No.
You're gonna have him lose?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm out.
This is the reason why you have him lose. You gotta garner that sympathy. You gotta, and then also
isn't that what the podcast is doing right now? Is building his character so people love him and give him sympathy.
They promoted it on Raw and SmackDown. Very emotional podcast from Royce Keys and Stephanie McMahon. Riveting stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Joe Test. I'm not knocking Keys. I'm not knocking McMahon. It was good stuff.
It was great, but I don't think that's
how many times are we going to see it?
You know what I mean?
I can agree with you on that. Yeah, that's what my problem is all we've seen is him. Now, I do agree with Drew where you can do.
Nobody gives a shit.
No.
You can do the thing where you came out at the Rumble and then not see him until after WrestleMania. I have no problem with that because the debut at the Royal Rumble was for that moment, even though it wasn't in the States or whatever. But debuting people after the night after WrestleMania has been a thing for a very long time. And I think Royce Keys is a perfect wrestler for that. So I don't mind waiting, but it is the podcast thing is
just
kind of
because
frustrating.
your booking didn't resonate with me doesn't mean
No.
resonate with people. I'm not gonna have this guy Keys show up, lose by hook or crook or schmaz or whatever you want to call it the first time to Carmelo, and then we get all the way to WrestleMania and he loses again. And I understand you want to build sympathy, but that big man,
I got Javon Evans for that. You know,
so if Andre would help that, right? He has a dominant performance and something that's kind of like the Rumble. It's got some prestige. It's not the Rumble. It's on a very level.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I think that's it. And then you can have Royce Keys have some matches on SmackDown where he's beating the shit out of people. Oba eventually ends up on Raw where he continues to do his thing. Just had a big moment with Brock. I think, that's what you do. Now, if they want to wait till after Mania to have Royce in a role, I'm here for it. At this point, I think the best thing to do is to let the noise deaden, because if you throw him out there right now and it's not meaningful, it's going to come off like a fart in church.
Yeah, no, it will, but I think you've either, like Juice said, either have him come out day after Mania or something, but you're losing time on Royce right now. And that's why I say, where's Royce? Because you're not doing nothing but just burning time, and you've got to capitalize on this guy. I really think you should, because I'll say this, and eventually WWE is going to find themselves in the next 2-3 years. They're not going to have any choice but to book and push all the black talent, because that's all they got right now. You got Keanu Carver, Javon Evans, you got Trick Williams, you got Oba Femi. You're going to have to find a way to book all these guys at the top of the card at the same time. You're going to have to find a way.
And when Keys debuted at the Rumble, I thought to myself, all right, we're going to see something maybe on SmackDown. And then when time kept going and we didn't, I think the best thing for him to do is to not show up until they have something that is going to make him look like the killer that he is. Stephanie McMahon podcast is great. I mean, it keeps his name out there, maybe have him, I don't know if I'd even put him in the crowd to observe talent. That's just not his character. I don't know. But I don't do it unless it's got some purpose. Any other questions? Juice, Jordan? Or
I have no other questions, but I will just shout out the young up-and-comer Ricky Sosa, who is debuting for TNA tonight and tomorrow in their tapings. So he's
tell me what you think of one Ricky Sosa. I don't know much about him.
He's a very unique in-ring guy, but his big claim to fame thus far is, he's overseas, so he's international. So you might not see him. This is his first North American wrestling, to my knowledge. But his entrance is over like Rover. He has aura, as the kids would say. And
what is his entrance? Is it the music? Is it him? What is
music? It's music and crowd interaction. And it's very catchy.
Something that they could license.
Yeah.
Is it going to be expensive?
It's his music.
Okay.
He made it.
Now it is playing off of things, but it's his music.
So is he kind of like John Cena, where he would rap about his opponent?
No,
it's more like
it's like Swerve too.
How
it's like Swerve too. Yeah.
How Swerve.
Yeah.
So he got into the studio, got this beat.
Okay, so it's not like early Joe Hendry where he's running his opponent down. That type of shit.
No.
I'm just saying his theme music is a big part of his character.
All right, I look forward to seeing.
He's more than that. Because I was
more than
at first.
At first, I was that's how people might run into him.
Is he just an entrance merchant? Is that all he is? And you look up tape on him.
He's very
Drew.
good.
I'm telling you, this kid is going to be the future.
Okay,
this kid is good.
So, yeah,
I have no idea.
His North American debut is tonight and tomorrow for TNA in Atlanta.
I look forward to seeing it. There's a wealth of talent out there that I am unfamiliar with. I asked the questions because you said his entrance has aura, and a lot of people from the past, somebody we talked about, Road Dogg, Joe Hendry, John Cena, all that stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out where he fits in on there. Great. I look forward to seeing that. TNA is basically little sister, little brother to WWE. So it seems like Ricky's probably going to end up, if he gets over, with WWE as well. So good for them. Let's talk about somebody who was released or quit TNA, and that is Mr. Warner and Miss DeLander. I'm a big fan of Mr. Warner. I think that he's got a lot of potential. When I watched a couple of GCW shows, that I was kind of like, this is not for me. But he stood out. He also stood out very much in TNA at the times that I did see him. And I believe that he has something that I would go get if I'm AEW or WWE. Don't know where he's going to end up. And his wife, Steph Delander, I believe, if she can get, I don't know what went into everything. I'm not going to speak on people's medicals, but it just seems like maybe she cannot wrestle at the moment, or one company cleared her and the other one wouldn't. I don't know. It's all speculation. I think she would be a welcome addition to this AEW women's roster as well. Just me. WWE's loaded with women talent. I'd love to see her in AEW. What do you guys make?
Even without the wrestling capabilities, I think she is a good manager. I first was on SDL's, or she was on my radar when she was the heater for Matt Cardona on the independent scene. So she would always, do the old, hold the title up and maybe accidentally hit Matt Cardona instead. Hannibal, I'm very hip, so I don't want to hear it from you, pal.
Well, you said hip, so.
Yeah, I know. Well, and then I don't know what, Drew said. He didn't know. He was questioning with Joe Hendry. He didn't really.
I did not make the comparison. I just asked.
Yeah, he just asked, which is very fair. But SDL
come to this neck, come for it, but you better come strapped.
But SDL is a quality talent. I'm a big fan of Mance Warner. I've equated him to a combination of New Jack and Bunkhouse Buck in regards to wrestling styles and look and how he is, and he's like a maniac. I think he would work very well in an AEW environment. Give me him versus Darby Allin. Yeah, give me him. There's quite a few guys I like to see Mance Warner work with.
I made the comparison,
and I can see SDL somewhere as well. Even if it's
I made the comparison because I'm an ECW fan myself, just like you were. I think the New Jack comparison is a good one. And if Mance was a little bit taller, because you think he's 6 feet, I kind of gave him the whole Mike Awesome vibe. That's kind of what he gives off at times to me.
I think of Brody King and Mike Awesome similarly as well, just an imposing.
But that is somebody who, a lot of people are always like, oh, you're high on Gabe Kidd, you're high on Hook, you're high on
only bald guys.
Finlay. No, yeah, only bald guys. Finlay's got a great head of hair. I don't have that. And Mance Warner. I mean, you got to start looking. I'm very high on Oba. I'm very high on Trick Williams, Javon Evans. Very high on
Drew is just naming everybody on the roster.
No, I'm not. But there's people that if you don't look to the future,
I think this Cody Rhodes guy has some promise. I gotta tell you,
if you don't look to the future, you're gonna die, and that's the truth. And I think that you got to start looking at these guys. And I think Mance is probably in his mid-30s, but wrestlers really don't take off, with the exception of the Ortons, the Rocks, and the Brock Lesnar's, and all these other people. They don't really take off until they get to about 30-ish, 31, 32, 33, 34. So whatever. For me, I like Mance.
Yeah, Mance is 37. And he is from Bucksnort, Tennessee. So that's right up Bunkhouse Buck's alley.
I like his promo delivery. It's very kind of, the raspy voice, it's
very Steve Austin-esque. But in a good way. He's not he's just like mocking it, or I'll tell you this, and this is not a knock, but he's not doing the LA Knight thing where he's just like paying homage to these guys. Maybe he just sounds like that.
I'll say this, this also isn't a knock. I think they would be a great fit for Ring of Honor in this new Ring of Honor format that we're about to get.
Sure. But I would hate to have him there and never get a shot in AEW. He had a match, I think, in AEW.
I'm pretty sure he'll get. So I think with this ROH kind of having tapings, having a kind of secure location, I think we're going to see some of that talent that is regularly on ROH finally get elevated and moved up. There, because we're going to be able to see them a lot more often. It's going to be a lot easier for recording schedule and things like that. Now, if you ask me, this is a different conversation, but I think you need to put ROH free on YouTube, because I think that's ROH's biggest problem right now is accessibility. And so, but to tie that back to Mance Warner and Steph, I think they would be great for that, for ROH, and kind of, just reestablishing what ROH is supposed to be. So I think I am wondering like what one doctor said versus what another doctor said. I will always
we can't get into that, and we're not going to get into that here. But that's kind of what was reported. I don't know if it's factual or not. I think both of them deserve a chance. I think both of them could absolutely add to any professional wrestling company that's out there. So we'll do that. Any questions from? Let's see. Any questions?
Oh, we've been asked this question like 4 different times. So
what is that?
It's the same question that's asked every single week.
This one, what match is bigger? Liv, Steph, Rhea, Jade. I think Rhea and Jade is gonna get the hype, almost like what Tiffany and Charlotte had this type of stuff go on last year, and they got the hype, and everybody was all about it, and I was too. And then that triple threat happened, and everyone shut the hell up about Tiffany and Charlotte, and it really wasn't a great match. But at the end of the day, I think that Jade and Rhea are going to have an okay match, and they're going to have all the hype. But I think Liv and, Stephanie Vacour and Liv are going to put on a show, in my opinion.
I think Stephanie Vacour and Liv will probably, it'll be the better match. Rhea and Jade will have all the pomp and circumstance, especially with all this, work shoot stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it'll have all the pomp and circumstance. It'll be be on the post.
Right. And I like they're imposing figures. Both of them are two sides of the same coin in regards to build, height. And I think it's a match I've wanted to see. I wanted to
force versus the immovable object. Is that what we're gonna have here?
Well, no, that's Nia Jax. But I would have liked to have seen Rhea and Bianca at some point. Bianca and Jade, but Bianca being out, this is what we're gonna get. And
the Bianca thing sucks because
it's rough.
We don't really know what's going on. It seems like she's either nerve damage or something. It just seems bad, and I wish her the best.
Looking for more answers than anything else.
It's the knuckle. Once you break anything with the knuckle, it's very, very hard to recover.
Jordan, I love you. I do. When you could come look at my hands the next time we're in a spot together.
I'm looking. I'm saying. That's the first time I'm seeing.
From football, my hands are all messed up. All right.
I was about to say, one of your fingers is like.
I grab a screwdriver or even a baseball bat sometimes, and I get a jolt up my fingers. But anyways, and you're not wrong. You're not the knuckle, the nerve, everything. We have AJ Lee. She issued some open challenges. Where do you think this ends up in regards to WrestleMania? I'd like to see Roxanne, but it doesn't seem that AJ is going to be done with Becky. And I think that's
my thing is if she's not with AJ, what does Becky do at WrestleMania, considering she's one of their top stars?
And the other thing here too is that AJ's kind of on this part-time contract. And what I mean by that is that it's kind of like the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns contract, but for AJ Lee. I think WrestleMania, she goes away for a little bit. So is she going to just put back over Becky, even though Becky has lost every match that she's been in with AJ? But at this point, I would like to see AJ maybe make somebody with that Intercontinental Championship.
Either that or do a triple threat where maybe she doesn't even have to take the pin, but she still loses the championship.
I was just about to say, I think it will be a triple threat, so AJ doesn't have to take the pin. Because I think Roxanne coming out to answer the challenge would be great. Because you got that weird thing with her and CM Punk. Becky, because we were talking about referee match and stuff like that, and I don't.
No, but this is like the third or fourth time I've seen this on the internet. Jessica Carr is not going to wrestle, is she?
Well, it's the same thing with Nick Aldis. They think he's going to wrestle Drew maybe because his buttons are popping off his shirt because he's so jacked.
So he's we're going to go from Drew being the world champion to taking on Nick Aldis at WrestleMania.
Would you be shocked if that happened?
If that's the case, then more people need to walk out at WWE's creative.
What if well, let's see what happens tomorrow night on SmackDown. Do you think Cody wins clean? What if there's something, No,
I can see a three-way or a fatal four-way. I think the three-way makes the most sense at this point. But then you got Jacob Fatu, and what does he do? Fatu's got to be in a major program at WrestleMania. So if it's not Fatu and McIntyre, and Drew's taking on Nick Aldis, what is Fatu doing?
You got me.
I think I'm going to be honest with you. I think adding Jacob to whatever Drew and Cody end up doing just for him to take the pin.
I respect Nick Aldis, but he's the current Drew McIntyre's the current WWE champion. We're not talking about Scrap Iron Adam Pearce over here. We're talking about the world champion Drew McIntyre. Come on.
Yeah, but he's going face to face with Nick Aldis after the show, and it's not as unbelievable as the referee versus Jessica Clark versus Becky.
It would be like if Stone Cold during that time, it'd be like if Stone Cold said, "You know what? Hey, William Regal, Raw GM, let's go."
Well, he did that with Eric Bischoff.
That was different, and you know it.
Well, I mean, Austin needed to come back. He was gone, and all
No Way Out 03. He had that thing with
Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I remember The Rock and Hogan was the main event there.
Rock Hogan 2.
Steiner was on that match.
That was a horrible match, and it had Evanescence Bring Me to Life as the.
It did. That's right. I remember that.
Oh my God, that just scratched the part of my brain. I remember that. Oh man, I remember that. As soon as you said Evanescence, I could the compilations coming in my head. That's crazy.
The one thing I will say about Drew McIntyre, he's probably not walking out of WrestleMania champion if he walks in. Quick prediction from you two, and then we're going to hit the road. Drew or Cody, or does it end in some sort of garbage? Jordan?
Cody. I got Cody. Well, I got Cody winning, but I also got this is my I'm good for a crazy one. I got Rock pulling up.
Rock? Boy, if the Rock, I will tell you this: if the Rock
shows up tomorrow, thought Brock Lesnar was going to win the Rumble.
If the Rock shows up tomorrow night on SmackDown and either costs Cody or helps Drew or whatever, or maybe helps Cody, I will tell the producers let the Frog play for a minute straight. We'll find the extended version.
Well, if not tomorrow, I think Rock's showing up Mania and involving himself, because I'm thinking to myself, like, this Mania is missing
That's not an
something.
outlandish. Hold on a second. There's two different things here. That's not outlandish. The Rock showing up at Mania to maybe set up a program with Roman for 43, I don't think is off the table. He's not wrestling. But I mean, him showing up on SmackDown, boy, oh boy.
No. He ain't showing up on regular TV. No. You gonna have to pay to see him. He ain't showing up on regular TV. But no, I don't know if he interferes with Roman or if he interferes with Cody, because that's still a story that's kind of not finished there. But my outlandish take is Cody wins and somehow the Rock's later on involved. That's my outlandish take.
Oh, it won't be your last outlandish take, I'll tell you that.
You got Juice. You're gonna save us.
Man, I don't know. I look, to me, I think as long as Randy Orton walks out of WrestleMania as champion, I would be happy. So
Cody.
But what's more,
Cody walking out?
No, I'd rather have
chases all the way. I mean, I will
Cody
say
chasing is more intriguing to me than him being champion. But I don't know what's more impactful. If let's say Orton's the end goal to win the title, is it more impactful for Orton to win it from Drew, from Cody, or from a triple threat between multiple?
Let me present this, because I've told you guys to book this, so I'm going to book this for you guys.
Yeah,
okay?
We're giving you the pen.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Let's just say it's a fatal four-way or a triple threat at WrestleMania. Okay. And let's just say Randy RKO's somebody. You can name it, whoever it is, Drew, Fatu, whomever. Then Cody Crossroads, Randy, covers the guy that Randy hit the RKO on. 1, 2, 3. Randy eventually snaps, and we get this build all the way through, because Randy just did this to Cody. Okay. At the Chamber. We get this build, and we get it all the way to SummerSlam in Minnesota.
That makes a lot of sense. And then you can have heel Randy.
Randy versus Fate. Yes. Yeah.
Cody gets the sympathy. Yeah, it builds it longer. I agree.
And think about this. That match itself would sell one night out in Minnesota at SummerSlam.
And that's nice to have those two being one of the two nights, considering you still got Roman to deal with for Mania or for SummerSlam. You got Punk and a lot of other pieces.
Brock's retirement.
It'd be nice to not have to think about one of the nights if you have Randy, a heel Randy going for number 15.
Here's your 3 main events for WrestleMania for SummerSlam in Minnesota. And I'm just giving this as what I would do, because I think it would sell. I'm giving Brock and Gunther. Gunther retires Brock. I am going Punk and Roman in a cage. Okay.
Oh my!
And I'm going Randy and Cody for the WWE Championship.
Oh, you'd love to see it. It's in your neck of the woods. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. My son would love to see it.
I got a really quick question before we head out. Do you guys think that there's any specific reason why they haven't announced which night Roman and Punk are on?
Yeah, because they want you to buy tickets for Saturday.
Want you to buy tickets, but it's going to be night 2. 1,000%.
It's the main event of WrestleMania. I'm glad you brought this up, and we should end with this. They don't need. I said this. Roman and Punk was awesome on Monday, the interaction. And it was awesome weeks before this as well. They don't need to overdo it. They don't need to keep hammering those two out there and cut the same type of promo. I like what they've done. What I will say is if you want to have a 6-man the night before or not the night before, the Monday night before WrestleMania or maybe a week prior to that, whatever, where Punk gets the upper hand because I believe Roman's going over at WrestleMania, fine. Don't do too much right now because everybody is invested and there is a lot of people who believe that all of this is real. And when you can blur that line or lines, you got yourself something. And WWE knows they got themselves something. What I will say is I'm going to make a prediction that at WrestleMania 42, I believe that we could see the bloodline, Usos and Roman, start to get back together. And it wouldn't shock me at the end of night 2, we get the ones. And it's Roman, Jimmy, and Jay. How we get there, I don't know, because I don't book for WWE. I don't write for them. But I think that could be a possibility because I think
that would lead a lot of credence to a potential Rock thing because you get the bloodline back together under Roman's head of the table. And then, well, there is someone else that would like to lay claim.
Do you guys agree that less is more with this Roman and Punk thing as we continue
100%. No, they have lightning in a bottle right now. So just chill. Don't do too much.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah. Don't have them do another. I wouldn't have them do another promo, at least a promo battle, at least until like the week before or week of. Like they need to now, not necessarily be separated, but like, okay, we're established. Punk's here, Roman's here. This is the road that we're going to. So don't overdo it.
Now, are they going to do, I don't know, what you got, like a contract signing? You have certain things that you do in between. What could be?
We got a press conference, I guess, on Dynamite next week, which I did not know.
Yeah, we got a press. Yeah, which I hate those. I hate contract signings because.
But AEW's never had one of those to my press conference.
It seems like I think it's going to be like a worked press conference where there's going to be people.
Well, of
they're going to have these two on right. So we'll have to wait.
Are you going to be there, Drew? Final Bell Media?
I will not be. I will not be attending Revolution unless something crazy happens.
No, I meant the presser for Dynamite.
I think it's in California. So unless something crazy happens, no.
Okay. What about Double or Nothing? Can I get you to go to Double or Nothing?
I think that's more obtainable. If I'm not away with my family, that's definitely more obtainable. Yes. Yes.
All right. He said it. All right. If I can get you.
All right, Jordan. We are just about out of time. And then Juice Jordan, where can we like, subscribe, and follow you?
You can find me on Twitter at slick_flair91, as well as the Wrestle Collective, and that's Dub C Worldwide. You can catch us on YouTube, the Wrestle Collective YouTube channel. Yes, worldwide. We are worldwide. We got Hannibal. You know what I'm saying? You can check us out today where we are doing a part 2 to our draft series that we did before. We're bringing back Lucy. And for those who know, it's our very special guest. So very happy that she's going to be blessing us with her time today. So definitely check us out, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's the Wrestle Collective YouTube channel.
Who is going to be blessing you with their presence one more time?
Lucy. You've seen her before, talked to her. Yeah, she's very, very nice, very sweet lady.
I will give you her handle because I do appreciate Lucy. I think she's one of the few on here who is just a pleasant interaction with all the time. It is Lucy. It's just Lucy. Again, that's at Lucy. Yeah. It's just Lucy. Always pleasant to interact with on.
Very, very great person.
And it's a good person to have. Juicy boy. What do we got here? We got
we've got
what is this?
What
am I getting fed? Memorial Day. He's always shirtless on the lake celebrating. Okay, all right, Blake. Thank you.
It is Memorial Weekend too. Snap.
I'll probably listen, Jordan. I could be easily convinced, especially since it's New York. Juice, where can everyone like, subscribe, and follow you, my man?
Juicy Steen at Juicy Steen here on Twitter. If Juicy Steen on YouTube, you can argue with me about my crazy takes about Danhausen, WCW, what have you. But yeah, the Juice Box, wherever you listen to podcasts each and every week. So
where's that Juice Box logo? Where is it? I know.
What do you mean, where is it?
It normally is like
the one behind. I don't have it behind me today. This is a different little locale, but at some point, maybe we'll get a little.
I think you should do a Juice Box Uncensored logo.
Ooh, because it's the War Games logo, right?
It's fall brawl-esque. Those things cost money, and I wouldn't necessarily want to do it with a Juice Box logo, but I might do it if I do another like side show or a special event.
I will tell you, Juice, the place that Juice got his logo done is spendy, but man, did they do some good work. Fantastic work.
Yeah, I'm very happy with what
I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to get that because it's really good.
I might have the fine people at Final Bell Media fork over some cash to get a Survivor Series 1996-esque No Dirt, Just Dialogue podcast logo. So we'll see.
And you also think, Drew, when you do this, and I know, sure, on air doesn't matter. We can talk about it off air too. Think of whatever. So what is this? No Dirt, Just Dialogue. So there's 4 words there. Find any sort of show that may have 4 words involved. I got very lucky because WCW Fall Brawl with War Games.
Hey, don't give out all the secrets on air.
The Juice Box.
Great
with Juice Springsteen.
Fire.
Boom. There it is.
All right. I'm at Andrew Baydala. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow to Final Bell Media. When we go live, hit that bell for notifications. When we go live, you will know. You won't miss an episode. This is episode, I believe, number 15. Grateful to have all of you with us. 15 episodes in the can, which I appreciate. Always a good time to talk to these 2 gentlemen and all of you. Remember to subscribe and like and follow Jordan and Juice, Wrestle Collective, the Juice Box. I am at Andrew Baydala. We will catch you guys and girls down the road. Thank you to Hannibal. Thank you to Abel. Thank you to Blake. Thank you to WrestleFish. Thank you to everybody for joining in. Enjoy the rest of your week. Professional wrestling is an escape from reality. Make sure you do so. It is not your whole identity or your reality. Much love to all of you. Catch you guys and girls next week. See ya.